1 day and 4 hours from the time of recording this video, the Bitcoin halving will be upon us. In this video, you can expect to have some select Rune tokens that I think will perform well during the first Bitcoin block. We're going to talk about that further in this video. What even is the Bitcoin halving, why it matters, how the market's going to react to all this, and so much more. I gave you ordinals early.
History was made this week with the first ever 10,000 NFTs being inscribed on Bitcoin.
Early to BRC20.
BRC20s have been exploding, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know.
Some of these meme coins, this is going to be no different. I hope that what I present to you in this video will present a lot of opportunities. Of course, nothing in these videos is ever financial advice. I just want it to be equal for you. I live in this space, I work in this space, I see it all the time. I know a lot of YouTube doesn't have the same amount of time and exposure as I do, so all I'm doing is laying it out for you. You can pick and choose what you want to participate in, what you don't want to participate in. It's all up to you. But without a doubt, things are about to change, and we're going to look at exactly why in this video. If you just want to check on the countdown, I use NiceHash. Just type in Bitcoin halving countdown, 1 day, 4 hours, 27 minutes. During the first block of this halving, there's going to be a new protocol release. It's going to be runes. Essentially, this is going to be meme coins, other tokens on Bitcoin. Halving. You hear this all the time, but what in the world does it mean? Bitcoin goes through these cycles every 4 years. When it goes through the cycle, the total amount that Bitcoin miners can mine is cut in half, just around up. So let's say they're being able to mine 6 Bitcoin. They're now able to mine 3 Bitcoin. What this does is these people that make a living with these mining companies, or just maybe even just regular miners, they have less sell pressure because they're getting half the amount of Bitcoin. So essentially all that has to happen is the demand can stay exactly the same, especially with these inflows coming in, and the price will still reflect. If you see this right here, this is a chart of the previous performance, the first, second, and third halving. The white line represents the pre-halving, Bitcoin going up in price 312%, and then shooting 6,734%. Now let's keep in mind, Bitcoin was extremely cheap back during the first cycle. Then we see it again for the second one, going from 134% increase, kind of what we've seen this last year, and then post-halving 301%. And lastly, the last cycle, only an 18% increase pre-halving and 541% post. So all these are pretty bullish numbers. On top of this, we also have to balance out with the Bitcoin ETFs. Now, if you look here during the last few days, we have had negative inflows, 165 million on one day on the 17th. The rest were pretty negligent with 58 million, 36 million, 55 million. Overall, we are still way up in the green for average inflows, with the inflows coming in being substantially more than the outflows. And during the last week, I mean, Bitcoin's only down less than 10% over the 7 days. This is with the possible people thinking that it could go into World War III, geopolitics, all these other things going on. A lot of people believe sometimes the halving might be a sell the news event, even though that's not what, the last few cycles have showed us. And I mean, people are just overall bearish. I mean, the stock market's going down. I think the only thing doing decent right now is gold, which is more of a risk off asset, and that's the first time we've seen it move in a long time. So overall, I think things still are looking great. So with all that being said, we're prepped now for the riskier stuff. Now it's time for the juicy stuff. Let's talk about this runes, what to expect, how to be prepared, and most importantly, I see this all the time, like, why should you care about this when you have Solana and Base? And I've made a ton of videos on all of these. When you have those, like, why care about memes on Bitcoin? Let's take a look at this. The total market cap of Solana in this diagram versus the total, the current market cap. So these are just the meme coins, and this is the current market cap. As you can tell, Solana is filled with meme coins. I mean, it makes up a significant amount of the market cap. I would like to see exact percentages on this, but you get the point. Let's look at runes. This is the total market cap of Bitcoin memes right now. It's that little dot. And then the Bitcoin current market cap, it's huge. So the amount of liquidity that can come over from this huge circle to this little dot is insane without people having to bridge. They might have been sitting on their Bitcoin for a very long time. They want to do something with it, but they don't want to take it off the Bitcoin mainnet. Now they can finally dabble in some meme coins, and that's exactly what I'm already seeing happening. We see this broken down in another post. Just to give you like an exact idea, this is by Butoshi. ETH market cap is 365 billion. I think it's actually over that. Pepe is almost 2 billion. Solana market cap, 60 billion, with riding along at 2.5 billion, which is absolutely insane. So Bitcoin has a $1.2 trillion market cap, and the premier coin on there is still less than $1 billion or market cap. And then there's these that are coming for that, you know, people are expecting to do well that are still under $500 million market cap. So two of those that I'll go ahead and mention in this video would be pups and wizards, or the current meme coins that like are have a lot of people behind them. And the pups are at 430 million and the wizards are at 167 million. So here's what I want to look at in this video, and I want to look at specific runes tokens as well. We already said pups have been established. $55 a token, which is insane considering I was watching them at a couple dollars a token. Completely faded pups. Congrats to everybody who won. Either way, still under $500 million market cap, even with being $55 a token. There's some other ones on here that are clear wizard winners. Bitcoin wizards are getting a lot of traction, as we just said, actually $170 million market cap. So it actually dropped from that post I just looked at. Another one is Trio. This is actually a BRC20 now. Trio is behind OrdinalsBot that we're going to look at in a second, which is a tooling device that helped significantly for Bitcoin ordinals. And they're going to get into runes as well. OrdinalsBot has a ton of funding. They've already established themselves in the space, and I think this could do really well as well. So in this video, I know we're already, you know, a couple minutes in, but I'm gonna take a look at some specific tokens and kind of like leverage plays you can do within the ecosystem, because it's not all about just finding these random tickers, whereas a lot of these random tickers are going to fly. It's about kind of knowing what to look for and maybe preparing if you don't want to go through the hard process that I explained in my other video about running a Bitcoin node, downloading Ord client, doing all that technical stuff. If you just kind of want some exposure to it, here's some things to take into consideration. So again, by Dogfather Analytics, there's kind of sections. We talked a lot about the pre-runes. I want to continue to talk about those. These are kind of what's already out right now that you can get into that, you know, could be a good play. You could literally go buy a lot of this stuff right now. I'll explain that in a second. There's a lot of pros and cons. There's the launch and mint pads. As I already mentioned, OrdinalsBot, they have a Trio token, and some of these other ones you might be familiar with. I kind of know some of them. Definitely good things to look at if they have tokens, because if they're helping the runes ecosystem, then maybe their tokens could do well. There's marketplaces. Now, of course, Magic Eden has an NFT token coming. That's a little different. I am super bullish on all the marketplaces that have jumped on this. And also, I think a lot of the initial buying for runes is going to be extremely difficult. But I think some of the, once they kind of get on more of these marketplaces like OKX, it'll make it easier to onboard people. But if you're doing the pre-runes, or you kind of know what you're doing when runes first start, you're actually going to front run a lot of these people that use traditional marketplaces, and you'll have an advantage on them. This part is huge. Not all of these have their own tokens. I know, like right off the top of my head, Liquidium does. Liquidium allows you to borrow and lend against your ordinals. Every time you borrow and lend on their platform, you gather points, and those points will be converted over to tokens that were BRC20 tokens, but I think they're going to have a runes airdrop as well. Definitely check that out yourself. I'm not entirely sure, but Liquidium is one that you can actually farm today. It's a very useful tool as well. I love Xverse Wallet. You're going to need Xverse to do most of this. If you want to just start from the basics, Xverse is a really good resource for that. Leather is great. Ninja Alerts, that's the company that I work for. If you notice, we're under wallets, data, tooling, and DeFi because we're actually a software company. We're going to have, and we already have in beta, our own trading software that basically you'll be able to track people that buy and sell ordinals, runes, all of this. As soon as they mint something, you get a notification sent to your phone or your desktop, and you're able to copy trade and basically be able to follow smart money that way, or just good traders. Ordiscan's really good. So anyways, find your pivot in here and what you find interesting, maybe something you're already involved with, and I would lean into that a little bit more. So let's kind of categorize this a little better than just kind of picking and choosing from each category. So a lot of my picks I'm about to say, I do own or have some exposure to, and that's because I know the most about them. That's why I'm talking about them. There's a lot of good picks out there that I'm not going to mention because I just don't know a lot about, and I only like talking about things that I know about. So from the top, Prometheans, they're top on the one-day volume. This is actually by CyberKongs. It was an airdrop to some of the top ordinal communities. Our Pizza Ninjas got like one of the highest allocations as far as percentage of holders goes, and it's already at 0.03 BTC, which is like, I don't know, like $1,500. 78 pending transactions as I'm looking at it. I don't know if you thought that was your internet, but it was actually me, but we're just going to keep on rolling with it. Next, we got Runestones by Leonidas. This was dropped to like 80,000 people. Currently, there's like 76,000 owners. He's already announced a dog token. He claims it's going to be the best dog meme on ordinals or on runes. I do have one of these Runestones. It was an airdrop already. This is an expensive entry. By the way, I'm not saying buy any of this. I'm saying these are things to look out for. It is available to go ahead and enter into some of this stuff, but we're just talking about kind of what I see in the making already. So it's like a 3-part airdrop. The dog is the first part. And I do want to go ahead and take a moment right now just to say this. I also think, and I've already tweeted about this, that this is an awesome time to sell the hype of some of these runes collections. So far, everything I've mentioned, that has not been the case for me. I have sold off some other things, but I mean, if you got it airdropped or if you already bought it and you're already exposed, this might be a good selling opportunity because you know there's liquidity there. Some of these tokens might not do as well on runes. Maybe it's too hard to figure out. Maybe the hype wears down. Maybe the market. There's so many things that could happen. If you're in the money, don't be scared to take profits. Whatever is best for you. I've already mentioned rune pups quite a few times, but obviously definitely one to look out for. I own 0. I mean, 0.13 floor. I don't even know what that equates to in USD. So very expensive entry. I would just go about buying the pups token at this point. But again, I'm not really speaking on things I don't really know about, but I will like kind of give them an honorable mention, as well as RSIC meta protocol. RSIC has been mined since since runes were a thing. They're going to do, of course, their own token. I think it's going to perform really well. And I would not say, and maybe somebody who owns an RSIC would disagree with me, I would not say now is a good time to buy an RSIC to do this, because it was more so one of those things you should have bought at the beginning, had it mining the whole time, and then like keep that and then use that for your runes allocation, opposed to like buying right before the halving. I know Runestone and RSIC are kind of opposite in that sense. That's kind of why the Runestone flipped RSIC, is because Runestone, kind of the closer you in, the more you want it or want to hold. RSIC would be the opposite. You've already mined it and you're already prepared and ready. So I don't know the current value of the ordinal besides getting parts, maybe a little bit more allocation. But again, I'm not super familiar with RSIC, and I'm just trying to stay in my lane, but I got to give a mention to RSIC because they're obviously going to have like a great allocation. Actually, I'm gonna go a little further on this. So interesting enough, Memeland actually teamed up with RSIC on their Rune coin. Basically, you're able to farm Rune coin by completing quests for staking meme. This was big, and they also just announced within the last 24 hours that they swept 21 RSIC meta protocols, which kind of makes sense that even the price is being held up the way that it was when we just looked at it. So yeah, definitely keep Rune coin on your radar. Lots of people have already farmed a lot of it, but it's definitely got the hype, attention, value, teaming up with some big players in the space. Definitely something to keep in your radar. Runevo will be its own collection. They're going to have a mobile tool. Definitely something to keep on your radar. I do own one. Rune Guardians. So I actually don't even know what Rune Guardians miners are. I haven't really kept up with the ecosystem, but Rune Guardians were kind of OG. Basically one of those things you bought, the longer you held it, the more it accumulated runes. I still have 2 of them. Interested to see how that does. I'm just really not entirely sure. I also heard recently that Rune Guardians were going to get a wizard allocation, which is what we talked about at the beginning of the video. On that wizards allocation, the wizards are actually trying to get the ticker, which is magical internet money. Whether they're going to get it or not, we'll see, but that would be an amazing ticker if they're able to get that. I think you get the point. And also one big thing is you see the Genesis rune. So the first 10 blocks are going to be the Genesis runes. I think that Casey actually locked rune 0 to where it's going to be his own common goods is what he's going to call the ticker. Now, common goods is very interesting. Again, this is something that I've been so busy, it's hard for me to keep up with. It's going to be open mint for a while, so I'm not entirely sure if rushing and spending a ton of money at the very beginning when fees are really high is the best option for that. We'll see. I mean, this could be open for like a year or something like that, open mint. So I'll just kind of see how that goes. And I know Casey's not very like financially driven. So I don't think he's trying to do this necessarily to like gain value, more so just have fun, but we'll see how that goes. The other runes 1 through 9, a ton of people are going for them. Basically goes to the highest bidder, a lot of other factors in play. It depends on what kind of tickers those have, whether you want to be a part of those or not, and how fast you can get a part of them. I know a ton of communities that are trying to get on that, including the wizards, I think, with that magical internet money. So this is going to be something definitely to watch, the first 9. That's a ton of information, guys. If you made it this far in the video, if you think I left out anything, drop it down below. If you want another follow-up video kind of going over maybe some more simple stuff or specific projects or whatever, let me know if you made it to the end of the video below. Drop your favorite one that I talked about, drop something that I didn't talk about, whatever it is. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me this long. Let's get ready for the halving. I think even if the next few months are kind of meh, maybe we stay between 55K Bitcoin and 70K Bitcoin. It's nothing too crazy. I still think after the halving, we're going to see the results if the demand stays anywhere near what it is currently. So it's going to be a very interesting few months. We'll just see how it goes. I think overall 2024 is looking bright. Super excited for these opportunities that are in front of us, and I will see you guys next video.